when I was reading the book, I'd be reading along at a certain speed and a certain pace. I should say in my head, in case anybody thinks I'm sort of reading out loud in the subway or something. And then I'd come to some dialogue, like the hooker Tilly, and it suddenly sounds like almost a jazz riff in my head, and I start reading faster. And do you feel that when you're writing it?
I try to create that. Yeah, because the music of something is so important to me. Even how it like splashes out on the page, or how like the hooker Tilly, she writes in really small sort of paragraphs, and it tries to approach that sort of long squawky rhythm of jazz, and then a short note and that sort of thing. So I'm very proud, and thank you for saying that.
There's a lot of great dialogue in it, and it's a book that would make for a great film. Is that going to happen?
Ooh, very funny you say that.
Yeah.
I wish I could tell you who I'm supposed to be meeting. There is some
sure, we
Hollywood...
won't tell anybody. Go ahead.
yeah, there is some Hollywood interest. Yes.
Excellent. It would make for a great film, I would think.
I hope so. The thing about it is, you hope it's a good book, and then the film might have to become something,
I know.
completely different.
Would you want to write the screenplay yourself or not?
Yes.
That's definitive. That's the only way they're getting your book, is if you write the
No.
I'm teasing you.
No. Listen, if they paid me a load of money, I'd do anything, because I'm terrible that way. But it's just no. I mean, if someone else came along, I think I'll do the first draft at least, because I have a vision for how I think it might be.
Right.
And then if they wanted to fire me, they could go ahead and fire me very willingly.
You'd have been paid by then. How long did it take to write the book?
Over the course of about 4 years.
Did you spend a lot of time researching 1974?
Yeah, a good deal. But I knew New York fairly well, so now I get all these questions. Like, I had somebody assault me yesterday. It's like, there's no way that there could have been a newspaper truck on the FDR, and they're wrong, actually, because it was. I mean, they're the sort of things I researched. The only trucks that were allowed on the FDR were newspaper trucks, for instance.
Really?
Yeah, and so I have people like tell me all these things, and
that's detailed research.
Well, you have to try and do it.
Did you now? Don't be modest. Did you know it was a good book when you were writing it? Okay.
That's a
yes,
very good
you did.
question.
You did.
Well, I'll tell you this, that I knew when I was struggling with my previous book which is called Zoli, and I was really struggling with it, that it was a brave book, but it was not the book that I wanted it to be.
Right.
And so I suppose one knows towards the end, but you're never entirely sure. There were times I just bloody hated it and thought, this is the biggest, heap of steaming manure again that I've done, and and people aren't going to get it, and but then another part of me felt, oh, maybe it's the one.
We were talking about immigrants, and I know you go back to Ireland a lot. And any thoughts on that changing aspect of Ireland, a place that's rapidly gone from homogeneity to something like 10% of the population being foreign-born?
Oh, well, I love it. I would say this, that emigration defined us for so much of the last century. The whole idea of going away, being gone from home, American wakes, all that sort of stuff. It's finished, gone, basta. It's over and done with, and we don't emigrate anymore. The big problem is not the problem of exile or of immigration, but the big problem is the problem of return.
Right.
And that's essentially the 21st century problem, because I'm interested in this Brodsky notion that you can't go back to the country that doesn't exist anymore.
Right.
And so when you go back to Ireland and you get that kick in the chest when the field that you ran in is now a supermarket, you have to wonder, is that sentimental, or is that a profound shift? When people are talking about traffic and mortgages and so on, you have to wonder, like, what sort of country am I going back to? But I have to say, I go back at least 3 or 4 times a year, at very least. And when I went back recently, in a strange way, the economics collapse has brought about another sense of the old humility. And if there's any good to come from some of the bad stuff that's happening at home right now, there was a sense of humor that sort of sparked in again on the streets that I could detect, and that old sense of, like, being Irish and being up against the world, and having a story to tell again. Because one of the things that shocked me was the lack of stories over the last decade or so.
What's next for you?
Oh, do you have any ideas?
Well, besides writing the screenplay.
Oh, well, yeah. No, I have an idea that sort of it's a huge novel, and I'm really scared of it, but it will go all the way back to America in the 1840s and Ireland in the 1840s and come all the way up to the present day.
Wow.
So it's a huge landscape, and I'm not sure I'm able for. But I feel better now. I feel energized.
Sure.
And for a long time, I was exhausted by this last novel, like knocked flat. And now I've been doing a lot of traveling with it and everything. But now I know that I'm ready to start again because I get antsy in the morning.
Yes.
And I'm like, get the kids off to school, grabbing them by the scruff of the neck, throwing them out the door. Get off to school,
and get at it again. Well, the book is called Let the Great World Spin, and Colum McCann, who does find beauty in dark corners. Thank you for talking with me.
Oh, it's such a pleasure. Thank you so much.